I have one story for you today, but it's an absolute roller coaster. It comes complete with every update, and I'll just read the title for you. Am I the a-hole for helping my brother run away from his wedding, leaving his soon-to-be wife on the altar, wondering where he's at? I have two older brothers, and this is about the middle one. Our parents divorced when I was very young due to our mother's insane jealousy. At first, my dad was able to handle it, but when she started making comments about me wanting to be like his wife, he's had enough. She quickly rebounded with a guy with 2 kids and had a shared custody for a while. But when my dad got remarried, she went crazy, calling his new wife every horrible name and claiming he was cheating on her while they were married. I was always closer to my brothers and dad than my mom because she was always very mean to me. Long story short, my stepmom died in a bad car accident, and my dad called her in the middle of the night, letting her know that he would pick us up earlier so we could attend the funeral. And she decided to take us on a fun trip to celebrate something. It was the happiest we've ever seen her, and when we realized what happened and started crying, she told us only worthless people cry for losers who are dead. Needless to say, things went nuclear, and my dad asked for full custody with visitation for her. He always left the line of communication open and paid for us to visit her when she moved away. But it was still very bad, and as soon as we turned 18, we started to lower contact with her. Last time we saw her was on my high school graduation, where she made a point of letting everyone who would hear know that we were ungrateful kids, calling us names. We've been no contact since then. My brother Sam started dating his ex 3 years ago. She's heard all the stories and the reasons we're no contact, but she believes we're just being dramatic. They've had many issues due to her opinions, but she eventually seemed to drop the quote, "You need to reconcile with your mother" crusade. During the wedding planning, there was no indication of things going wrong or fishy. Then we got to the church, and lo and behold, Mom and 2 kids sitting at the front. Well, I immediately panicked and called my brothers. Sam thought maybe somehow she found out and wanted to crash, so he called his ex to let her know of the potential drama. But she told him it's fine since she's the one who invited them. Sam hung up and asked me to go get him while the oldest brother dealt with things at the church. We went home and barricaded ourselves there even when his ex, her family, friends, etc. came to try and make sense with him. Mom's husband even called and said he always knew we were worthless. Now that the dust has settled, most of Sam's friends are on his side, and so is most of her family. Well, Dad's side at least. Ex's parents already threatened to sue for the money that they pay if they don't marry her, but Sam says he'd rather pay them back for their contribution than marry someone that betrayed him. My nuclear family 100% supports Sam, but the backlash has been huge. 2 edits before we hop into update number 1. Some of you have commented about it, but no, she has not apologized. She even went as far as to text my oldest brother Joe that she thought it would be good wedding presents for my brother to tell her since she values family. My dad bought them a house as a wedding present, but only Sam's on the deed. She did have keys for when they moved, but they just had the locks changed today. And Joe and some cousins are taking everything Sam owns for her flat during this week. We weren't worried about being sued, but we'll consult a lawyer just in case. We also heard Mom and her family are still in town, but since we're all staying at her childhood house a few days, we don't care. My dad's sad that Sam's heartbroken, but is trying to cheer him up, along with my boyfriend and my sister-in-law. I had to delete and deactivate my social media because I kept getting nasty comments and messages. But the more people learn the reason Sam ran away, the less it gets. I'm still sorry she felt humiliated, but my brother comes first. Edit 2. We're 34, 32, and 28. Ex-sister-in-law's 30, not in the US by the way. I asked Joe about the church aftermath, and it was just as I expected. He says he stood up in front of everybody and told them Sam was not coming. Please go home and take all their gifts that they delivered to our side of the family will be given back ASAP. The ex was still outside the church when someone in her family informed her, and she starts screaming and crying and calling Sam nonstop. Mom tried to talk to Joe, that didn't even look at her, and when she could get reactions out of him, she starts crying loudly, laminating how horrible we are to her, and some people started consoling her. This is her MO. But Joe and his wife didn't care. When they went out of the church, the ex was expecting them and demanding to see Sam, but Joe said no. Then she demanded to know what to do with the party, and he said if she didn't want the venue, he would arrange for the food to be donated to the staff there so it wouldn't go to waste. Everybody was screaming except Joe because he didn't want to give Mom the satisfaction. They, Joe plus sister-in-law, came home after stopping at the supermarket for some fast food joints, and we've been inside like we're kids again, plus 2 more members. We asked Sam if he wanted them to go, but he said he wanted them here. We had all taken time off to spend family time after the wedding anyway, so it's not a problem at the moment. When the ex came to the gate, we knew she was not going to use the venue, so my sister-in-law called them with Sam's info, told them to take the food, and also sent them some tips for their trouble. It seems we'll get back all the alcohol that my dad paid for, so we'll have a very drunk end of the year. A couple people messaged me asking why did her dad even marry our mom, and the answer is he really loved her and believed she was the nicest person ever. Turns out she wasn't, but she knew nobody, except I guess her nasty husband, would marry her unless she pretended to be nice. He considered staying with her until we were adults, but she kept getting worse and worse. She used to get very nice, and he thought she was changing, and then all of a sudden she would change back again. As per my ex-sister-in-law, we have no doubt that she believes Mom's a nice person that has ungrateful children, because she's extremely charming and for some people it's funny to make fun of others, as long as it's not directed at them, but it still doesn't excuse X. The only person Sam gave an explanation was his boss, who was at the church, but he's very understanding and was pretty shocked at what Mom put us through, since we're fairly adjusted happy people. Our dad said that it was a shock for all of us, and we can stay home as long as we need. Sam's moving home for the time being, and I showed my family the post, and they're moved by your niceness, but Sam wants you all to know X wasn't showing any concerning behaviors, and truly believed she understood his upbringing. He agreed to talk to her and her parents today, but only if it's at our house. And we're there to support him, so it's going to be an interesting visit. I'll update after that happens. Update number 1, 1 day later. Sam lost some money, but it's not going to hurt him. Her parents paid for her dress, a very fancy cake, and part of the honeymoon. X wasn't the most beloved in-law, but we truly believe she loves Sam. We have no contact with Mom's side. Joe used to have some with Grandma, but after his wedding, by the way, another crap show avoided, he cut her off too. Mom's comments about me wanting to be the wife came from her belief that it was not right for us to have daddy-daughter days or outings. The thing is, there were also Daddy Joe days and Daddy Sam days. He always tried to spend time with us alone, and as a group, she's just sick. We don't advertise our childhood, so when people ask us about our parents, the standard answer is, just my dad, or it's my siblings and my dad. Most people assume my mom's dead, and it helps avoid the whole inquiry about not talking to her. Mom's stepkids are both male in their early 30s. Dad has a long-term girlfriend, and we like her a lot. She's been doing her own stuff these past few days, but she says we have her full support. Okay, now on to the update. I was wondering why Sam accepted the meeting after not even talking to her, but turns out she sent videos and photos of all his things on the floor to his best friend Tom, and told him that Sam either talks to her or she would destroy it all. Tom came to visit Sam, told him what happened, and they informed her that they need access to the apartment before anything happens. Tom, Joe, and a couple of cousins and my boyfriend went and took his clothing, electronics, important paperwork, etc. Sam said he didn't care about the rest and even made a little joke about them being the fastest moving crew he's ever known. The meeting was, for a lack of better words, a ridiculous event. She came with her parents and sisters and tried to talk to Sam alone, but when he didn't allow it, she just starts talking. Not once did she apologize. She said it's not her fault we don't understand the value of a real family, and we're raised to hate mothers. That her only intention was for Sam to learn the value of mothers, because she was scared he would take her children away from her, because that's what he was taught to do. Sam didn't say anything until she threw the quote, "This family is like a cult, and you're a terrible father," looking at my dad. As you may imagine, this is a sore spot for all of us, and we don't allow insults towards Dad, under any circumstances. Sam just unloaded about how she was a hateful liar. He was disgusted he ever touched her hand. He was grateful to the universe that I'm chronically early to everything. He told her staying with a cheating husband as her mom does is nothing to be proud about. He said she pretended to be nice just so he would marry her. Unloaded all the minor things that he was willing to overlook because he truly did love her, or at least who he thought she was. He said he would never forgive her for the hurt she's caused his siblings, but he doesn't hate her, because that would require him to spend energy thinking about her, and she doesn't even get that. At the end, he said she's had enough time to clear things, and since she's acted like a victim, he'll be the one to let everybody know why he did not show. It was brutal, but cathartic and necessary for Sam. Her parents said nothing but were very red. She was crying. Her sisters attempted to defend her and their parents' relationship, and were kind of expecting my whole family to argue, but we didn't. Then Sam told his ex-father-in-law he could sue if he wanted, but if he did, Sam would expose all his family's dirty laundry to the world. And he doubts he wants that. Amazingly, the dad still argued Sam could try and make amends and marry his ex, because, quote, "They are not getting any younger, and all the family's fights, I've never rolled my eyes harder than that one." The rest of the meeting went about logistics for the return of the wedding gifts already received, stopping the harassment from their family, the cancellation and refund of the honeymoon, the changing of the locks. X just kept crying and trying to talk to Sam, but he was in business mode and didn't want anything from her. He only replied to her directly when she said that she was keeping her engagement ring with, quote, "Nobody asked for it." They left without issues. When the booze was delivered, Mom and husband snuck through the gate when we opened it. She said she just wanted to talk to her babies, and my dad asked her to leave. She kept screaming and screaming. He raised us wrong, and we just embarrassed her with our behavior. She couldn't believe we were such bad people, and we should start making amends with her, because we clearly lack maternal love. Yeah, you got that right. And this was the pathetic result. At that point, Joe went out and told her to leave since the police were on the way. She took it as an opportunity to cry, since it's the first time in about a decade he's talked to her, and tried to sweet-talk him into going to grab dinner with her and her husband. But Joe just told her to leave, and that the only news he ever wanted to hear related to her were the ones about her funeral arrangements, so he could celebrate with a glass of champagne bubbly. Cue hysterical crying and screaming from the husband demanding an apology and threatening to hit Joe. Dad and Joe went back inside and left them there until they saw that we left and closed the gate. It's hard for some people to understand why we react like the way we do, but the things I wrote about our mother are just like the tip of the iceberg. Dad wasn't exactly proud of what Joe said, but he understood he needed to let it out. And he was speaking for all of us, honestly. Maybe that makes us bad people, but we truly don't want to see this woman ever again. We're all going to have some family therapy besides our individual therapy. Sam doesn't want the house anymore, but Dad says to take it slow, and the first step is to mend his heart. We've had a horror movie marathon and some Disney classics sprinkled here and there. We also had a drama bingo thing going on for all the things that could possibly happen, because I guess we truly are dramatic after all. We love each other, and we're raised to treat people well, but we can be petty when pushed. I also feel better knowing she humiliated herself. And while I wouldn't wish to be left at the church to anybody, I'd do it again though, because I love my brother more than I feel bad for her. We'll be going on a family trip eventually, but right now we'll continue our staycation. To the person that said Joe's a hero, his siblings could not ask for a better brother and friend. Update number 2, 4 days later. This week has been really chaotic. Those who said to be prepared for the pregnancy tactic were incredibly accurate. She posted it online. People were freaking out again and calling Sam asking if it's true. Sam called her and asked that she deleted it. She continued to claim she was pregnant. He asked her again to delete it and come talk about it, so she deleted it. Met up with Sam, and somehow this crazy woman thought he wanted her back. I went with Sam. She was very happy until she saw me enter the place. She started crying, holding her stomach, and when Sam asked her if she's really pregnant, she said yes, and told him she didn't want her child to be from a broken family. So what does Sam do? Sam told her that they're going to the doctor immediately to know for sure, and she cried even more, screaming how he didn't trust her. Long story short, she's not pregnant. But she posted Sam and was forcing her to have an abortion, and she's devastated. As you can imagine, this was a horrible thing to say. People were calling Sam because they were also so whiplash from the drama, they didn't know what to believe anymore. When my sister-in-law Anna found out about the post and the meet, she called Daniela. I'm unsure what was said in the conversation, but I also never saw Anna this angry. The post her down, but Anna wrote an email with all relevant information, including that Daniela was never pregnant, and sent it to everybody in the wedding list. This morning, we heard Daniela had a breakdown after leaving voicemails, telling Sam if she couldn't be with him, she wants to die. This is another tactic straight out of the mother's playbook, and Sam simply called the police and told them what happened. Her family forced her into therapy, and she's in observation right now. It brings us no pleasure that it came to this, but we don't want to get involved anymore. We're also changing our numbers, already requested it. Our mother emailed Anna, threatening to sue her for defamation regarding the email blast, but we're not worried about it either. Anna's parents are amazing, and they've made it perfectly clear they're on our side and 100% agree with the way she handled things. Joe was enraged, but Anna convinced him to let it go and simply move on. Mother's husband has been a peach, as usual. Dad's considering a restraining order, but they're not great in our country. We did have a get-together at home yesterday, and well, it was a lot of fun. There was karaoke, dancing, nice food and drinks and games, and bouncy houses because why not? We love them. Most people avoid the topic of the wedding and post, but those who brought them up did so tactfully. Dad had already given away a lot of the alcohol to his employees. They got to choose what they wanted and got a bottle each. He also added bottles to his Christmas baskets this year. We're going to spend the holidays together and traveling. I told Sam about the new paint for the house, but he just doesn't want to live there. He'll rent it. I made a joke about me simply eloping or not having a proper wedding to avoid drama like this, and Joe told me in no uncertain terms, I get the biggest party if I choose to. So yeah, he still is the best. Next update, about a month later. Sam's doing well, he's taking time off work. His boss is very understanding about him needing time, and told him he can always come back there. He's still living with Dad and has savings, so he's not worried about that aspect. He's running now, and decided to run a marathon next year. He's more and more his goofy self and is doing renovations at home, or in other words, Dad and Sam are trying to paint some rooms and do murals. It's hilarious, and they have a lot of fun. Daniela wrote him a letter, but he sent it back. The house was put on the market as a rental, and he's okay with it. I'm engaged! It turns out it's been months in the making, and when I made the joke about eloping, my future husband, Matt, panicked. I discovered the plan. He spoke with Sam, who already knew of the plans, because he didn't want to make him uncomfortable, but Sam said it would actually make him comfortable if he didn't. He also spoke with Joe and my dad. My dad made him sweat when he asked for my hand, saying it was not his to give, but they say it's all in good fun. It happened earlier this month. I'm very excited, but not as much as my dad. He says he wants to walk me down, even if it's a civil wedding. While my news are amazing, I believe the other big news around is better. Joe and Anna have been on the adoption list for a while, and as a couple weeks ago, a baby! She's the most beautiful sweet baby ever. The adoption's final, and it's usually in our country for newborns for almost newborn babies. Well, we knew they wanted to adopt for a while, so when they told us about baby being official, it was a lot of crying, but happy crying. Dad is in full grandpa mode, and even as bad as some things got this year, this is the best thing that's happened to our family in years. Mom did learn about the baby and demanded an introduction. She's been served our version of an order of protection. She's never putting her eyes on her if we can help it. Those are the bad news. Due to the new COVID, we've decided to stay home. Now with the new addition, we wouldn't want to travel anyways. We had a Christmas welcome baby shower engagement gathering last weekend, which Joe and niece did not attend since she's too young, but they were there via Zoom. We all agreed to give Sam some good gifts such as t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, whatever, etc. Julia Roberts, and you know that she's the runaway bride of the family. The reason Joe and I are considered moving is that we live in flats at the moment, and we want to live in a house. We're still shaken up, and we know we have to work, but we know we have so much, and we want to focus on that because the negative is in the minority. No matter what happens, I'm always grateful for my family. I believe this will be the last update, guys. I know the last ones have been mainly drama-free and might not be as exciting, but we aim for that. Not planning on deleting anything, the accounts will be here in case something worth updating happens. I wish you guys the best at the end of the year. Well, that was what you call an emotional/dramatic roller coaster, and we were at the top, waiting to go down. I do want to read a comment. It says, well, she does seem to have the complete support of her parents and maybe her sister, which is sad, because instead of getting her the help she needs so desperately, they're enabling her downward spiral. And the thing that worries me the most about this situation is that Daniela doesn't seem to have any boundaries in her quest to get back with/at Sam. I agree, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Drop it down below, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining. Happy holidays, and I'll catch you in the next one.